care about the others. You set my world on fire. You're my heart's desire. I just wanna love you, just wanna hold you, just wanna be with you till we grow old. Please tell me you'll stay or take me away. I want you for myself every single day. You set my world on fire. You set my world on fire. I don't know what I'd do without you. You make me smile, what is it that you do? My life was great till you added colors. Like the moon is the snow, we don't care about the others. You said
I hear the sound of empty streets. Yesterday has gone to sleep, so all that's left is you and me. I can promise you're the only thing I see. Hold my hand and hear the words I say. Close your eyes and let us fade away. Build a secret place for you and me. Let our minds be caught up in a dream. Quiet voices in the night. Time is running out of sight. A lonely wind is passing by. Tries to carry all the whispers that it finds. The walls are listening when we talk, making echoes as we walk. There's no one left but you and me. It's like a made-up place that only we can see. Hold my hand and hear the words I say. Close your eyes and let us fade away. Build a secret place for you and me. Let our minds be caught up in a dream. Standing underneath the lights, look into each other's eyes. There's no one left but you and me. It's like a made-up place that only we can see.
Wish that I could stay in this moment forever, so I can hold you in my arms. I will carry you on my shoulders as long as I'm able. Scare the monsters under your bed. Deep and abiding, liking for you is all I need. Until my heart gives in, I will do everything I can for you. Deep in the hiding, liking for you is all I need. Until my heart gives in, I will do everything I can for you.
Hey, do you remember 20-something years ago? Those cold nights in December and the sound of the falling snow. The fireplace warming us, the VHS movie box, your old broke down touring bus, and not a single cloud in. Go back in time, I'd pack my bags right now. If I could play back, rewind, I wouldn't think twice. A pair of jeans and a dusty shirt, we didn't have a dime. No, you and me were poor as dirt, all we had was time.
Oh, hello everyone. Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video is sponsored by me, myself and I. Today, we want to continue lecture 3A. Hello everyone, so happy to see you here again. I know very tiring. I also just finished one of my lab, then rush back, so tired. And today I go catch Pikachu some more in the campus, even more tired. So for those who donate blood just now, if you are too tired, maybe you can just sit back and enjoy. Okay, so today we just do short lecture. We cover two things. First, okay, let me finish the DNS part. Now in the previous class, previously in Datacom, every time we watch drama like that, got recap. Okay, so we just learned about DNS and how it works. So now today I will start with DNS poisoning. So we are moving a bit from Datacom where we learn about networking, this thing sent to that thing. We want to learn a bit about security. Okay, how to hack people. But of course, not hack people yet. It's just don't let people hack us. So we learn about DNS poisoning, and then we will go into HTTP, and that will complete the loop. So remember that day, okay, when we first started, I explained that we need DHCP to get an IP. You also need to have the DNS to do the translations, and then HTTP. Now all these three protocols must work together in order for you to see a website. So we talk about DHCP, we talk about DNS. Now finally we will finish it up with HTTP. Okay, so that's what we want to do today lah. And we will now go to the lecture, continue the lecture start on DNS poisoning. Right guys, just a head up. We learn all these things, and then next week we have a challenge that I want to play with you together. Remember, we have all the game that look like Cyberpunk. Next week we will start to play the game together. So if you like to play game, I think you will be very happy. Alright, so then for this lecture we start with the DNS poisoning. Okay, now this DNS, in order for you to understand DNS poisoning, what happened and how it works, firstly you need to understand how a DNS works first, right? So to quickly recap, DNS work by okay, let me just go back the slide a bit so you can get the idea. Here, just to recap lah. Okay, so DNS is like that. Every time your computer want to go to a website which is hosted on a web server, you need to ask the DNS server. So in this case, our example is this computer want to go to the website, and this website is hosted in 10.10.10.10. The server has the IP 10.10.10.10, and the domain name is ourtechtv.com. My website, a little bit promotion for myself. Okay, so this computer will now have to ask the server, can you give me the IP address of Our Tech TV, the website that I want to go now? And then the server will check the database. So inside the server is a database that may look something like this, right? It's very simple database that just have the mapping between domain name, and it just have something like a domain name, and then it also have the corresponding IP address. So something like that. Then you can see, for example, he will say apple.com. Then what is the IP? Maybe it's 1.1.1.1. Then google.com. Maybe it's 12.2.2. All this is just random IP. This is not real, so you don't try this on your site. Right, so like that. Then the table is very big. Got many IP of many websites in this world. Every time you want to go to one website, you have to look up one by one. So of course, sometimes it's take a bit time because got so many, you have to go line by line and scan and find which IP you want, then give back to you. Right, so let's say he find, and then he say, oh, Our Tech TV, he found it.com. The IP is 10.10.10.10. So from here, now he can return this IP to you. Okay, so this is like, you don't want to confuse, I just write that. Like that. So you return this IP. Okay, so here, you return 10.10.10.10. Now your computer get this ready, so he will now be able to go to the website which is hosted on 10.10.10.10. That is DNS, how it works. Very simple. We learned this before. So now about DNS poisoning. The next slide. Okay, I want you to look at the next slide first. Here. Alright, so now in this case, we have the same setup, we have the same computer, and the user want to go to the same website, which is ourtechtv.com. Again, it's hosted on 10.10.10.10, and it also asks the same DNS server in order to translate the domain name to IP so that I can go there. Now, in this situation, now we got a bit of problem because you see the red color one, that is what we call a rogue host. Rogue host means that someone, bad guy, or we can call this hacker or attacker. So in cybersecurity, rogue server means that a server that has been compromised. Now it could be like a server that looks very same. It has a website that looks exactly the same as a real legit website, but actually it's fake one. It's controlled by a hacker group, for example the anonymous group. Then what they want to do here is they want to treat user like me and you, people who don't take Datacom very innocent, but also don't know. Then they might sometimes click on a link, a phishing link, or maybe they click on a picture or download a file which contains some malware. Now this kind of thing happen all the time, and what the hacker want is they want our password our username so that they can take our money and things like that. So this is what you see here, is one of the way they actually do it. Now we call this DNS poisoning, where the hacker try to trick the user so that they go to the wrong website hosted on the wrong server. The wrong server here, I mean, is the server that is controlled by attacker or hacker. So you can imagine what happened next. I don't want to imagine You imagine they may get your username, they may get a password, they can steal all your sensitive data. So that is a rogue server, which is what you see here, the red color one, right? Now in our example here, we have one web server 10.10.10.10. This is the correct one. This is the, if you go to this one, you will see my website Our Tech TV appear, right? So here there is another server. The IP is different. You see now the IP is different. It's 11111111. It's 11.11.11.11, right? But the URL is almost the same. Sometimes it cannot be exactly the same. It can be almost the same, right? So this is one way they trick us. They want us to click on a link to the website like public bank, we think it's like the real public bank, but when we click we go there, it's not real one, it's fake one. I go to some other people website. But how they actually make it happen, this is how. Today we will learn how. Okay, so you see first thing is there are many ways. Like for example, the easy way that everyone kena most of this day is they send you some phishing email, say, oh, congratulations, Bernard, you want iPhone 14. Click on this link to get the iPhone 14. Then Bernard go and click. like that, then he kena, then he go to other people's website and then they steal your data. Now this one is different. This one is that they want you to they want to hack this server. Now the actual way to do it, like the coding or the malware script that you need to do this, is not part of our syllabus. Our syllabus is just you need to understand the concept how this thing work only. You don't really have to go and hack people. Then this one is the DNS server. Now we want to do something here. The first thing the hacker will do is he will now change the entry here. So what you see here is an example of a DNS table. We know that in a DNS table we have the domain name, which is what you see here, and you also have the IP address, like our tech TV is 10.10.10.10, google.com is 216.58.221.206. Now we know all this is the domain name, which is why every time we ask a server what is the IP of our tech TV, he can tell me it's 10.10.10.10 because he's got this table. Okay, so what attacker do is they try to get in here and they change the IP address of the legit host, which is 10.10.10 here, into the IP of the rogue host. So in this example is 11.11.11.11. Now this whole thing that I just did here is called a DNS poisoning, where we try to change the IP of the server into a fake one. Okay, so this is like the early stage, the first step first. So you can do this to many websites, not just one. In my example, I show you that I just changed one of the IP here. So we all know this is wrong already, because from here you see this is 10.10.10.10. Now I change to 11.11.11.11. So this is called DNS poisoning. So what happened next is like that. Okay, you see this guy here want to go to our tech TV. So he is very innocent because on the background, the user don't know this happened one. Even the server that got hacked, they also don't know. Like the IP change already, they don't know one. So you see, if I try to go to the web server, I type in ourtechtv.com, we know that the computer is going to go to the DNS to resolve the domain name, and he asks, hello, give me our tech TV IP address. Then he go and see the table. It's 11.11.11.11. So I replied 11.11. So once these machines get 11.11, the next step when he try to establish a HTTP connection, now he will go to the rogue host, like what you see here, the red color arrow. So initially, the right thing that's supposed to happen is 1.1.169.192.161.1 should go to the orange color one. But now because the DNS tell me it's 11.11, so I just follow. I don't know the one you tell me is actually a rogue IP. And now in the end you bring me to the wrong place, and then I get attacked, get hacked by people. And that is how they do the whole poisoning. Like it's not your fault, it's not DNS fault. DNS don't know. Just what happened next is, like you use Google, you use Apple Map. Google Map is okay. Everywhere you want to go, he know how to go. Use Apple Map. Then I say go to block NLDK. He point me into a lake, the Utah lake. So if you use Apple Map, you may end up in a lake also. Bring you to the wrong place. So this one is what happened when a DNS server got hacked. Right, so if you understand this concept, the whole thing here is called a DNS poisoning. I hope you get it. It's like, in a nutshell, you try to find a way to infiltrate the DNS server, then you change the legit IP to the fake one, so that in the future when people want to go to certain website, they always get the fake server IP and then they go there. Now once they go there, you can actually see like left and right. Sometimes they make the website exactly the same one, you really don't really go and check like that or compare one by one. It's very hard for us to tell, really. So you don't know whether you are actually surfing a website which is stealing your data. Like in this case, the hacker very smart one, they will copy all the UI exactly the same, so to trick you. And of course the domain name cannot be the same. You see here, the actual one is pbebank.com, public bank. Now sometimes they have to change a bit, like they change the E to number 3. You see number 3. Then sometimes I don't care 3 and E look a bit the same. Like when I play game, I want to create my in-game name, I also use 3 as E. Sounds a lot cooler. So this one is like they always try to play around with this kind of thing. Like sometimes they change the URL slightly or what. But this one is to cybersecurity. In our scope, you just have to think that the same domain name, but the server IP got changed already. And this one is not something that I made up. it happened to anyone. Today you may laugh at people, hi, you are like that also, you can kena, maybe the next day is you already. Because this thing happen, like they are so smart, sometimes we just get caught off guard. So this is DNS poisoning. Right, so if you understand this DNS poisoning, in the next week lecture, we will play a challenge together. You will need to solve a puzzle which is caused by DNS poisoning. So you need to understand what I just explained here in order for us to do that, right? So before I go to the next one, which is HTTP, now let me take some question. If you have any question, you can ask me now. Alright. Okay, let me see any good question. I only answer good question today. Time to convince your parent to buy one datacom. Need to play Cyberpunk. Bernard, don't spend money on yourself. Keep it for your next Valentine. It's different URL, right? Yes, Ziqing. Okay, your friend actually said a very good idea here. So when we do this kind of phishing attack, sometimes it's called a phishing attack. The URL may be different slightly. They will try to use the character that looks very same like the original one, but they change it. Sometimes it can be the same. But if it is the same and you still get attacked, means that your DNS got attacked already. Okay? Missing a S in the HTTP. Oh, this is a very good one. Now, sometimes you see websites like that one, HTTPS that Utah. Wait, let me write. And then sometimes it don't have. So this one we are talking about encrypted and not encrypted. So we have a secure version of HTTP and we have the non-secure one. This one I'll explain more in the next section. Okay. How do they manage to change it? The server is not secure. Right. This one, if you want to do this thing, you can actually look for Metasploit. We have this script from Metasploit that you can use to attack DNS server. Now, of course, I say this here, but I cannot teach you because it's not ethical. If you know this, you can hack you down also. So I cannot show you how to actually do it. That is for cyber security. But if you want to learn yourself, you can. This one, Metasploit. Right, the next one. Hey, why this class only 2 people? Is this a tutorial class? Why only 2 people talking to each other? No rain, time to go Pasar Malam. Wait for me, half more hour. Okay guys, faster. I know you want to go Pasar Malam already. We faster finish this before you run out of Pasar Malam thing. Right, so the next part, we want to learn HTTP. This is the Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and this protocol is the protocol that actually allows us to see all the website. So DNS helps us to go to the server. At the moment we get to the server, now your client, your browser will actually request HTML data or PHP data from the server, and this is done using Hypertext Transfer Protocol. This is the guy who actually allows us to send and receive websites. Okay, so to do so, of course, we need browser. That day in the class, I did a short survey to see which browser has more market share, and most of you is using Google Chrome, and we also have like Edge Mozilla Opera Safari. If you're using a Mac, you are using Safari. So all these browsers allow us to see the website. Okay, now browser is not just allow you to see the website. Actually, browser is like the mother of everything, of all things, because browser allow us to see website. See means render, it render HTML or PHP file. Okay. Now, if you are familiar with browser or some scripting, you know that you can actually use browser to download files. So you can use browser FTP mode to download and upload file. It's possible. You can also use things like let's say any protocol that support, for example, Telnet also can, SSH also can. So browser, like I say, is the mother of everything because he can do so many things. Normally we don't know this because we only use browser for one reason, to browse the website, correct or not? So normally I go to browser, what I do, I go google.com, I go youtube.com. This is what we're doing. But when we do this you see this HTTPS, this thing here automatically appear because by default, right, by default our browser is designed to show us website. That is why if I go to a browser today and I didn't type anything, for example, I just type google.com, what you will get is a website that show you google.com because your browser automatically add this header in front. That's why you don't type www or you don't type http, you also can go to the same website one. It's automatically added, right? But browser can do more than just see a website. Browser can do something like if you done your lab 1, you can actually I think if you done lab 1, there is one exercise where you go to the Eagle server website, then also can, or you can also go like FTP and then you can go to let's say 192.168.1.1. This one also can. If I type the protocol in front, this means that now I want to tell the browser what I want to use it for. Normally not many people know this because browser is just to go to website, but you can use browser to download and upload data with this one. You can also do a telnet here, right? You can also do so many protocol. Let me think about other protocol that we have. SSH is another one. So what I want to explain here is browser can do more than just see website depending on the protocol that we use, right? So you see here in the next slide, it explains more about browser. So you see there's a keyboard and then I have controller and I have after this one here, the controller means that the engine that we built into the browser. Now this controller is what make every browser different. If I ask you, okay, now you say you use Google Chrome, why do you choose Google Chrome? Is it because everyone is using Google Chrome? Or you use Safari, why you use Safari? Is it because you want to show off that you have a MacBook, right? So all browser is different. Some is faster, like Chrome is faster in rendering website. Chrome support HTML5, Safari support HTML5. That's why you can see all the flash animation, or not flash animation, it's animation. But you know Chrome, if you open Chrome, you open many tabs, it can use so much RAM. It eat RAM like I eat breakfast because I eat big breakfast every day. So it just eat so much RAM, consume a lot. That's why if you open many tabs on Google Chrome, then your computer become very laggy because the RAM is running up. Now all this different is in the controller. Means that the way the engineer from Google built Google Chrome or the Apple engineer who designed Safari, they have different coding in the controller on how they handle all these different protocol which you see here. It can be HTTP, it can be FTP, it can be Telnet, it can be SMTP. So this slide basically means that we can use a browser to render all these protocol, not just limited to HTTP. I can also use for a file transfer protocol, FTP. I can also use it to remote log into another computer using a telnet. I can also use my email client like simple mail transfer protocol, SMTP. Do you understand? Now, of course, in order for your browser to do all these things, they definitely have to support, on the right you see here, HTML, JavaScript and Java. Now this that you see here, this one here, are actually website data. Now every website you go is different. If I go to google.com, looks so simple, right? Google.com is designed to be simple. So that's why if we go to google.com, where my google.com missing? See, just so simple, one only. But if you go to my website, Avotech TV, let's say, right? I got so many animation. If your network is slow, then maybe you cannot load also because got so many animation. So all these things is possible and it's different because of what you see here, HTML, code, JavaScript, and Java. So we call this the interpreters. Okay. So how all these come together is every time we go to a website, let's say I type in www.google.com. Now your browser will now go to the web server, use HTTP to get something from the server. And the thing that they get is this thing, the website data. And a website data contain 3 elements, sometimes can be more, but minimum is 3. The code itself, right? And then the JavaScript and Java. So before I show you more example, let's look at a simple exchange that we have between a client and a server, right? So this example that you see here, the client of course is using a browser, and then the server is, in this example, a web browser. So we can assume that in the server that you see on this slide, there is a website inside, or maybe 2 websites or 3 websites, but it's definitely a website inside. Okay, so HTTP is a very simple protocol. Compared to you learn DHCP, still remember DORA got 4. D-O-R-A. HTTP got 2 only, request and respond. Because it only got one job. You want to go to the web server, get the website that you want to see, and then respond is send the data back to your computer so that your browser can render the website for you to see it. So only request and respond. Okay, now that means every time you click and then you want to browse the website, your client sent a HTTP request. Now this HTTP request inside the container, the address, the web element that you want to retrieve. Later I'll show you more. Then the server reply with a HTTP response. Now this response contains the data that you request for. Okay, now we go to the next one. So in this simple example, let's say I am using my computer, the IP is 192.168.1.1, and you can see the Google Chrome logo here. So I'm using Google Chrome to browse. I want to go to OurTechTV. So I type in the Google Chrome tab, then OurTechTV.com. I press enter. Then you go to the web server. This one is assume we already done the DNS. Okay. So in the first request, you see it will be HTTP request get post main.html. So this one is what we call HTTP methods, right? The way the HTTP can get data for you is they have a few functions, just like you write program. If you write a program to print out the time of the day, you need to have a functions to do that, right? And I think better example is, okay, if you write a program, a calculator. So your calculator got a few functions. One function is to add the number, one is to subtract, one is to multiply, one is to divide, right? So for HTTP it's the same, they have a few one. Now if you go Google this one, if you can Google this if you want, there are a lot of HTTP methods, right? See got so many. I press 1 see, these are all the HTTP methods, or if you want to ask ChatGPT also can. Then here is got post, get, put, patch, delete, right? Now all this is like the actions that HTTP can do. So in our syllabus, we will only focus on, I think if I'm not wrong, is four methods. Okay, starting with the first two is get and post. Right, now you don't have to remember because it's the name already tell you what you do. Get and post. So start with first one, get. Right, so get means that you want to retrieve a website like a PHP, for example, data from the web server. So in my example, you see this example here, I get the main.html, meaning that I want the website and the data for this website is named main.html. Understand or not? So you see, that's why I say get main.html, meaning that I want to get this web page which is contained in the web server. I want to download, sort of download, right? So this is to get a website so that it can be displayed. Now the other one is called a post. Post is very similar to get, except that it do one more thing extra, which is the user also got input some data. So a get is sent from a client to the server. A post message is also sent from client to the server. But post is more like when you remember, like let's say I go to a website which I have to log in. So for example, I go to Weber, and then when I click here, I need to log in, right? So when I type my password 1 2 3 4 5 here, I click OK, then I try to log in and send, right? So this thing here, when you send means that I send some data to the website. So this one here, wait, this is not working. My keyboard is not working. My keyboard gone already. Give me a moment. I think no battery. That's why don't buy wireless keyboard. Oh, come back already. Okay, so post is like we also send some data to the server. Now, while we want to get data from the server, we also send something like when you try to log in to a web page, you need to put in your username and password, and then you send this data to the server, and the server will see whether you are the real user or not. If your password is correct, then you can log in. So this is different. When we have get, it means that you just want to get a website. Like for example, I go to youtube.com. Okay, now I see this website appear. This is get. Okay, it can be something like this, get youtube.html. This is just a random example, right? So for post, it's like you see, I want to search for what to eat tonight, for example, or best Pasar Malam food, because this one may be useful for you later, right? So when I send this thing, I actually send some data to the server before I see this search result. So this is post, and then your query, for example, best Pasar Malam food. Then you send to the server, then the server reply this result to you. So get and post is slightly different, understand? Okay, so we come back to the slide, and now as soon as the server get your request, it will now reply to you using a HTTP response. What you ask, I give it to you lah, right? So you see HTTP response got 200 OK main.html. Now here in my example, I'm asking for this main.html. That's why the reply here, I'll get the same thing, main.html. And you see there's a code here. Now this 200 is what? This one is another thing that maybe you should know. So sometime you see a HTTP got code 1, HTTP code. Now this code you don't have to remember because this is not a website design class. This is a datacom class, but you just need to know the overview. For example, you see here. So every time you do a certain transactions with the server will always reply to you. And in every reply, whether it's success or not, they must reply and they will tell you the result. So in my example, if I browse to youtube.com, let's say this is youtube.com, I go there, youtube.com, then I see this website appear. This is success. So if success, the server when you reply, he will say 200, means that the request is success. Now if I go to a website and then the website disappear or cannot be found, normally happen when Utah release result and then you want to go to Utah portal. Now I cannot show you because Utah portal is still online. Or maybe you go to a website that has already been moved. For example, ourtechtv2.com. Cannot find the server or something like this. So every time you get an error message like this, it means that the server will send you an error message, for example, this one or this one, to tell you that there is a problem with the website that you want to see now. So we call this HTTP code, right? So what you need to learn here from this slide is very simple. For HTTP, it's always only two messages, the request, and in the request it can be either get or post, depending on you only get the website or you need to send something to the server before you get the website. And then the next one is the response. Okay, response means that the server get the request and they reply to you. So then that is why you can see the website. Okay, understand? So you can see this now. This is the data that I asked for, finally sent to me. So when this main.html reach my computer, the next thing that happens is Google Chrome, okay, will take this data and they render it. They change the coding into something that we can see as a website. That's why we got Google Chrome, so important in our life. Okay, now if you understand that, we go to the next part. I know your friend waiting you outside already, want to go Pasar Malam. Give me 20 more minutes very fast. Okay, before that, let me see whether got Q&A or not. Okay, what is Telnet? Telnet, I will teach you in the next lecture. Okay, I think you have done Telnet in Lab 1. So your tutor may already slightly explain what is Telnet. It's used to remote login. In the next lecture, I'll explain more. Okay, even ChatGPT has limit, of course he cannot replace me. Operate on application layer. Why so many this kind of thing? I don't know where I find the question. this chat become 吹水战 already. No question here. So I skip this chat. Continue with the lesson. Right, guys. Now for the next slide here is HTTP path. Okay, so we go to website. Every day we go website. We already very familiar. Like if Google.com, Apple.com, we're very familiar. But do you really know how this structure come from? This is what we want to learn here. So I will use my own website as example. Okay, because do some promotion for my own website. Although I don't earn money, just for you to know, in case you don't know, my YouTube channel don't earn money one. It's not because I want to earn more money, so I ask you to come YouTube. No money. That's why you don't have to see ads when you watch my video. Now, this one here is the syntax of a URL. We call this URL or domain name lah. Same thing. Now, starting here, let's look at this yellow color one. This is called the protocol. So this is where you define what you want the web server to do. Like browser. So just now I say already, browser is not just to use to see website. Browser can use for FTP, Telnet, SMTP, so many things. So here, if you want to use your browser other than HTTP for website, you have to type FTP.something. If you want to use for Telnet, you have to type Telnet.something. If you want to use for email, you have to type SMTP followed by the server IP address of the server. So this is protocol. But if you don't type anything, by default, this is HTTP. Okay. Now the next part here is the host. This host means the server IP, right? So like I said, every time we can see a website is because your computer go to ask the web server to give you the data, the website. Now all web server in this world, Google.com lah, YouTube.com lah, all these AvoTechTV.com lah, they have their own IP address. So all server must have an IP address. This is the reason why we can know where is the server, because you see Google.com, the server can be in anywhere. Actually, the real answer, if you want to know, is in Cyberjaya. Okay, they also have some server in the data center in Singapore, in Taiwan, everywhere. In every country, Google put some server here so that when you go Google.com, it's faster. If I put the server only in the US, then your data have to travel so long, it will be slow. That's why we have Google server everywhere. In Malaysia, they put in Cyberjaya. Now, in the server, they also got IP. And with this IP, this is how my computer know if I want to go to Google.com, I need to go to that server, which is in Cyberjaya, having the IP something. Okay, so let's say I do a NS lookup, for example here, terminal. Okay, oh yeah, this computer don't have terminal. I might install back. Sorry, I cannot show you. Never mind lah. Just assume that, let's say the Google IP address is 1.1.1.1. So here, this part here is actually IP address. Okay, now in this part, it can also be a domain name like avotech.tv.com. That's why you see when we go to a website, now you see avotech.tv. If I write avotech.tv.com, I can go to this website, no problem. Okay, you see here, after HTTP, www.avotech.tv, there is no IP address. So this one go back to what we learned earlier. We can go to any website with either using the URL or the IP, up to you. If you can remember number, like some Asians are good with maths, they can remember all the crazy long number one. If you are one of those kind of people, you can use IP address. But for me, I want to use the URL lah. So this is the host. You must know that there are two versions, either IP or the URL. Right, so the next part here is the port. Now, port, if you put HTTP, is always 8080 or 80, or sometimes it can be 443, right? So this is the port where it tells your browser what applications that you want to you are using. So because on the server, let's say this is a server, right? The server can be running many services. It could be a web server. If this is the case, this is 80 or 8080, we have both number also the same. It can also be a FTP server where we host some data, where then you can upload and download data. So this is like, I cannot remember, it's 23 or something, right? So every port is different. That's why your browser must always know which is the port number. If I browse a website, then it's 8080. If I want to upload data and download data, then I use 23. If I want to use Telnet, it's 21. This is the port number. And lastly, you see the path. So the path is actually means that what website do you want? Because you can imagine a server is just like your computer. In your computer, you got so many files. You got datacom folder, and then you got PCP folder, PCP. You got what other subject do you take? Maybe database folder. So in your computer got all these files, right? If you look at the desktop of any guy, all the file is there. But you go to a girl laptop, you see, wow, so clean, everything organized nicely, like Marie Kondo, go by folder one. But all the guy, we just dump everything on desktop. So we have so many files. Server is also the same. That's why when we want to see a website, we need to tell the server what file I want and where is the file in the server. And we do it using the path. Understand? Right, so you see here, based on the example, you can understand better. So, example, if I want to go to my own website, OurTech TV, it has to be HTTP or HTTPS. If you want to use the secure version, that is the protocol, followed by OurTech TV. Now, this is the host. So, the first example here is until here only. Do you see that? If I type this on my browser, do you think you can see the website? Actually, yes. Yes. Because when we browse website, we don't have to type the port number. This is automatically added. But you must know that actually when you type OurTech TV and then you see my website, they already automatically add the port 8080 for you. So this is until here. Now when you are at this stage, you can only go to my server. But in my server got many page one, got home page, got lecture page, got exam page, right? A website got so many different sub pages, small website page. So if you want, you must specify the path. So here you see the last example here. It means that I want to get the document to be a PHP or HTML, and this is called main.html. This is the HTML file that contain all the website design and the data and all the text that I want to see now. So it's like that. Now sometimes you can have even longer path. For example, you can see something like lecture. So it means that inside here there is a nested folder. So in order for you to see this clearly, I will use my own website and then we can see actually how this is structured. Okay, so you see I want you to focus on the address bar here, the URL here. I cannot make this bigger. I hope you can actually see it. Right, so now I go to my website OurTech. Then I see this page. This is what we call the main page or the landing page. And then you have all these things that now all this design here. Now all this reason you can see this is because I have the HTML file, I have the Java file and the JavaScript file. Later I'll explain more. But now let's talk about the path. So in my website, if I click a tab, for example, I click this lecture class, okay, to bring me to another page. Then I click here, I actually see another page. So the reason your computer can display another page rather than the home page is because when I click here, the server return you another file, which is called lecture class in this case. So this one is the path, the path and the file name of in the path that you want to get, right? So you can actually imagine it in this way. In all the server, they also got this kind of file and folder, just like your computer. So for example, like that. Okay. Now normally when we host it, you can be using Apache or something like. So let's say this is Apache. So I go inside here. Now inside here I can got 3 files: main.html, lecture class.html, assessment.html. So every time you click home, okay, and when you see this home page, is because the web server returned this to you. When I click on the lecture, right, then the reason I see this kind of different page where you can see all the lecture class is because the server returned this for you, and you can see the name match closely, lecture class.html. Here you see lecture class. Of course, the head.html won't be displayed because it's a file extension, right? So you will get the file name. You see, if I click on assessment, so let's say I click on assessment, this tab here right now, and then it brings me to all the quiz midterm that you'll be having very soon. And we want to over already. So you see here, assessment. Assessment. So this one here also assessment. This one got one extra S. Okay, so this is actually pointing to another website. Now, I want to say this one is not a real example because I didn't actually put the code here. Okay, this is just to show you only. But yeah, you get what I mean here, right? So every time you go to a different website, you see it because you are getting a different HTML file back and your browser render it. Okay, now this explains all the path. Okay, if you understand, we go to the next one. Right, so just now your friend asked me a very good question. Sometimes it can be HTTP, sometimes it can be HTTPS. So what you want to learn from this slide is there are two versions of HTTP. One is the normal HTTP without S and one with S. So the one without S is the normal one. So this connection is not secure. We can read line by line. Okay, so we want to see what are the different. So the first one is the connection is not secure. Cannot draw one. Oh, can already. Now meanwhile, you see the next one is the connection are secure. So actually, if you are like lazy to learn all these things, there's only one important thing here, which is HTTP is not encrypted, HTTPS is encrypted. So the difference is that if the website that you go is show HTTP, means that hacker can hack you. If the website that you go is HTTPS, hacker cannot hack you. It's not cannot hack. Anything you want to hack still can hack, but it's not so easily hacked. So for example, if you go to a public bank, see we go to public bank website. Public bank is a bank, so security is very important. If not everyone, I can go and then I withdraw money from your public bank account, right? So you see normally when you run the HTTPS, your browser will have a log sign here. This means that this is encrypted. You see there's a HTTPS here, meaning that if today, one day you want to become a hacker, you want to hack this website, it's going to take a lot of energy and you need to be very smart because it's encrypted. Now if you go to other website which is less secure, then you can hack more easily. So we can try. Let me ask you, do you think Weber is secure or not secure? Let me know on the chat. Do you think Utah will actually care about your security or not? Or maybe Utah think Weber, who want to hack Weber, hack for what? Get the quiz or get the quiz question or midterm exam question, man. Anybody want to hack? Actually, do you think we should protect your privacy? Or we don't care, then anyone can change your student result. I cannot go into your account and simply pick timetable for you. That one also can happen. So we try. Let's see Utah. Got le HTTPS. Utah my choice. Utah actually care. Don't simply say because everything Utah, then you have the stereotype you must check first. Utah Weber secure one. So that means if you log in here, I log in like that, I cannot hack your password because it's fully protected by, I think it's RSA. We have RSA protection. Okay, very good. Then you go in. At the moment you go in, see, no more secure, no more. The lock gone already. See, this is not a secure one. Meaning that Utah, if I use Weber as an example, they actually care a bit, not care all the way. So they care your login. They don't want anyone who know how to do hacking to get your student ID and your password, because I can do it. The reason they do it is because I don't want to show off. I am the guy who actually go and hack other people's password, and then they're not happy, so they changed to HTTPS. But they didn't do it all the way. So if you come in here, it's still HTTP, right? So for our example, Utah Weber login is HTTPS. Once you come in, it's HTTP only. Means what? When you hear HTTP, happy already, because can hack people. Means that all the things that you see here, I'm not sure whether you're from foundation or what but if you have been using Weber to do some online quiz or midterm tests or something, what you learn from here is, okay, cannot say I say one, later I want to cut away this part, is that every time your lecturer upload exam question, if you know how to do hacking, you can actually get the question first before the exam start. So let's say tomorrow you got Datacom quiz, I upload the question 1 week before. The question is already somehow on Weber server. If you know how to hack, you can get the question first. So if you want to do it, I also challenge you. Anybody want to try that? You can. You can. If you can hack my questions and you see the question first before the exam start, I congratulate you and I think you should get full mark for that. So anyone here, this is an open challenge lah. If you want to try, you can try. I'll give you a bit of tip. It only works on Mac OS, so you need a Mac computer to do that. And how to do that, you can actually go Google, because even Douyin also got tutorial, Google also got tutorial, but it only works on a Mac. So you can see you got friend use Mac one, ask them borrow you computer, and then you can hack Weber to get all your quiz, midterm exam before your lecturer want you to see it. Okay, so that part I will cut it out later. Don't want you to go and misuse it. Okay, don't abuse. If you can hack people, do it for good reason. Don't abuse people. Okay, so that is HTTP. Now with that, we can come back to the slide and let's finish up this slide. So HTTP and HTTPS, another difference is this is running on port 80 or port 800. This is running for 443. So if you see the website is 80, you know this is not secure. Easy, you can hack. If you see 443, I suggest you don't try because it's very, very hard. Unless you got many computers that have a lot of compute power and you can try a lot of brute force, then you can do that. Okay. So because this one is not secure, it's vulnerable to man-in-the-middle attack. And this one is data encrypted. So man-in-the-middle is something like that. Let me draw something for you. So let's say this is Weber. Then I draw you. This is you. Then this is me. Got hair one. I still got hair. Me. More handsome. Okay, so I connect to Weber. And then I type my username. Okay, I change this a bit. So this is Weber, and then this is you. Okay, now when I connect to Weber, I type my ID. Let's say this is my ID, and my password is 123. So I send this data to the server. Okay, now the server then will check, and then if I'm the legit user, authenticate me, and then I go in. Now, if I use HTTP, this data here, when it travel, these people can steal one. So if let's say, I think let me redraw this. Make it clearer. Wait, sorry, let me redraw. So this is the server, and then I draw you in the middle. Okay, this is you. You are red color because you're a hacker. So this in a normal situation. Okay, normal situation. Just give me 2 more minutes, then we can scan QR code. This one will come here, like that. Come here. Because I need to send my data to the server before I can log in. So a man in the middle, basically you can guess from the name, means that there is someone in the middle that want to steal this data. So they can actually, while transit here, this way, they can pull your data here. Now how you do it, I will show you in lecture 10. There is a way where you can actually steal people's data. That's why we call this man in the middle, right? So if you use a HTTP, so let's say this is HTTP port 80, the guy who get this data now will be able to see your username and password, AUNYC and 123. Okay, this is man in the middle. But if we upgrade the security, so let's say I change this to HTTPS 443, right? So when this thing happen, they will protect this data, so they will lock this. You can imagine they lock this thing. Lock means you cannot see the content already. So when we send the password over, it's protected. Mean that anyone in the middle who steal your data, he can still steal. Stealing cannot be prevented. Okay, but even he get this data, you see this data come to this attacker, he cannot see the inside one because it's locked, it's encrypted. Because it's encrypted, and only 2 people can see, the sender and the receiver. So in our case is actually these 2 guys. Only these 2 guys that I highlight here can see. Other than that, cannot see. So this is why HTTPS can protect us from man-in-the-middle attack. Okay, now the last sentence for today before we go is the password is sent in plain text. And this one is only the authorized user can see the content, which is what I just explained. So for HTTP, when we send password and username, we send as a plain text. If my password is 123, I send 123. And anyone that can steal my data will know that my password is 123. But for HTTPS, even you steal my data, you cannot see what I sent. You can only know I sent something, but you cannot see the content inside. Okay, that is HTTPS, and that is the difference. So today we will stop here. For the rest of the slide, we'll continue next week. Okay, now I will go generate your QR code and I will leave it open until 8:30. So if you want to go Pasar Malam now, you can go first, and then when you come back, you can still scan or just open this video and scan. But generate, I need a few minutes because got many group. So give me 5 minutes. I generate your QR code for you. Okay. So thank you for joining me. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Hey, do you remember sneaking out in the night? Me playing the Fender and you singing, oh, it's alright. Beating hearts full of lust, shiny stars over us. Just a dream guiding us, and not a single cloud in the sky. If I could go back in time, I'd pack my bags right now. If I could play back my life, I wouldn't think twice. A pair of jeans and a dusty shirt, we didn't have a dime. No, you and me were poor and stirred. All we had was time. All we had was time. Every bad thing and every good, I wouldn't change it if I could. 'Cause it all led us up to this. Every moment, every kiss. If I could go back in time, I'd pack my bags right now. If I could play back, rewind, I wouldn't think twice. A pair of jeans and a dusty shirt, we didn't have a dime. No, you and me were poor and stirred, and all we had was time. When you and me were poor and stirred, and all we had was time.
I don't know where she came from. Kinda turned me upside down. I just don't know what to do. I wanna spend the night at hers and bring her one of my t-shirts so it smells like her perfume. Now I really get what the love songs are talking about, and I just wanna tell her how I feel, scream it out loud. Have you ever been in love? Have you ever lost your head? Have you felt like you were out of breath when you saw her in that dress? When your heart is beating fast and you're sweating and you can't stop looking at her smile, then you've been in love. That's how you know you've been in love. There's something about the way she laughs and the way she always dances when she thinks nobody sees. And when she's gone, I miss her so. I tell her, baby, please don't go. I think you should stay with me. And I really get what the love songs are talking about. Oh, and I just wanna tell her how I feel, scream it out loud. Have you ever been in love? Have you ever lost your head? Have you felt like you were out of breath when you saw her in that dress? When your heart is beating fast and you're sweating, you can't stop looking at her smile. Then you've been in love. That's how you know you've been in love. She came from, it kinda turned me upside down. I just don't know what to do. I wanna spend the night with her, sprinkle one of my t-shirts so it smells like her perfume. Have you ever been in love? Have you ever lost your head? Have you felt like you were out of breath when you saw her in that dress? Your heart is beating fast and you're sweating, you can't stop looking at her smile. Then you've been in love. That's how you know you've been in love.
You keep me wondering, is our love strong? Just like a love song, baby, it's haunting me. Don't know what you're thinking, it's like I'm sinking deep underwater. Maybe it's harder, harder, harder for me. Oh, harder for me. Maybe we're over it, or maybe just lovers, 'cause under the covers, baby, you're showing me how to be fearless, so no one can hear us. You're throwing the pillars to the floor. Now put your loving, loving, loving on me. Eh, loving on me. Maybe you won't see me get emotional, and sometimes I pretend I'm just above it all. But I want you lying next to me. Yeah, I want your body, body, body too. Yeah, body too. And baby, please don't think I run away from you. It's just sometimes I get scared to dive into it. I want you lying next to me. Yeah, I want your body, body, your body too. Yeah, body too. Will you be my ride or die? Around all these people, we'll try to be someone better than you and I. Posing for pictures, but nobody listens to anything that you have to say. Can we just leave and walk away? Walk away, walk away. Maybe you won't see me get emotional, and sometimes I pretend I'm just above it all. But I want you lying next to me. Yeah, I want your body, body, body too. Yeah, body too. And baby, please don't think I run away from you. It's just sometimes I get scared to dive into it. I want you lying next to me. Yeah, I want